Some family trees you don't want to examine too closely. Moab's family tree? You need therapy just looking at it. Born from a drunken night in a cave between a father and his daughters, Moab had the worst origin story imaginable. Yet this nation born from shame produced Ruth, the great-grandmother of King David and an ancestor of Jesus Christ. If that doesn't blow your mind about God's grace, nothing will. Welcome to Moab, the nation that proves God can write straight with crooked lines and make beauty from ashes, but also proves that proximity to grace doesn't guarantee you'll accept it. Let's start with the origin story. After Sodom's destruction, Lot and his daughters took refuge in a cave, and the daughters had a plan that was equal parts desperate and disturbing. Genesis 19:31-33. One day the older daughter said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man in the land to sleep with us, as is the custom over all the earth. Come, let us get our father drunk with wine, so we can sleep with him and preserve his line." So that night they got their father drunk with wine, and the firstborn came in and slept with her father. The next night, the younger daughter did the same. Genesis 19:37-38. Thus, both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. Moab means from father. Every time someone said Moab, they were saying from father. Imagine your name, reminding everyone of your most shameful family secret. This wasn't God's plan. This was human desperation and sin compounding itself. But watch what God does with it. The Greek word for sin is hamartia, missing the mark. Lot's daughters missed by a mile. But God can hit the target even when we shoot in the wrong direction. Fast forward 400 years. Israel is journeying toward Canaan, passing by Moab's territory. Numbers 22:3. Moab was terrified of the people because they were numerous, and Moab dreaded the Israelites. King Balak hired Balaam, a pagan prophet, to curse them. But Numbers 22:12 records God's message. You are not to go with them. You are not to curse this people, for they are blessed. Balak offered more money. Balaam went. But every time he opened his mouth to curse Israel, God turned it into blessing. 4 times Balaam tried. 4 times God overruled him. Numbers 23:8. How can I curse what God has not cursed? How can I denounce what the Lord has not denounced? But Balaam wanted his paycheck, so he gave evil counsel. Numbers 31:16. These women caused the sons of Israel, through the counsel of Balaam, to turn unfaithfully against the Lord at Peor. Balaam couldn't curse Israel supernaturally, so he corrupted them morally. He told Moab to send women to seduce Israelite men into idolatry. And it worked. Numbers 25:1-3. The men began to indulge in sexual immorality with the daughters of Moab, who invited them to the sacrifices for their gods. And the people ate and bowed down to these gods. So Israel joined in worshiping Baal of Peor, and the anger of the Lord burned against them. 24,000 Israelites died in the plague. Moab's strategy succeeded where cursing had failed. Compromise from within is always more dangerous than attack from without. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. During the Judges, famine hit Bethlehem. An Israelite family, Elimelech, Naomi, and their sons moved to Moab. The sons married Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. Then all 3 men died. Naomi returned to Bethlehem, and Ruth made a decision that changed everything. Ruth 1:16-17. Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back from following you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me, and ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me. A Moabite woman from the nation born of incest, the nation that tried to curse Israel that seduced Israel into idolatry is confessing faith in Israel's God. She's choosing covenant over country, faith over family, God over genetics. The Greek word for faith is pistis, trust, commitment. Ruth demonstrated pistis. She didn't just believe intellectually, she committed totally. She burned her bridges. In Bethlehem, Ruth worked in Boaz's field. He noticed her. He was a kinsman redeemer. There are no coincidences in God's story, only providence, disguised as ordinary life. Ruth 4:13-1-7. Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife, and the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. They named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse, the father of David. Ruth the Moabite became the great-grandmother of King David. Matthew 1-5 includes her in Jesus' genealogy. Boaz, the father of Obed, by Ruth. Obed, the father of Jesse. A nation born from incest produced a woman whose faith put her in the lineage of the Messiah. That's God taking the worst possible origin and weaving it into the greatest story. David, Ruth's great-grandson, had personal connections to Moab. When fleeing Saul, 1 Samuel 22-3-4, David went to Mizpeh of Moab, where he said to the king of Moab, "Please let my father and mother stay with you until I learn what God will do for me." David trusted Moab to protect his parents. But then, something happened. 2 Samuel 8-2 records harsh judgment. David also defeated the Moabites, and he made them lie down on the ground and measured them off with a cord. He measured off with 2 lengths those to be put to death, and with 1 length those to be spared. Jewish tradition suggests Moab betrayed David by killing his parents. If true, David's execution was retribution for treachery. Moab took his mercy and answered with murder. The prophets pronounced extensive judgments on Moab, focusing on pride. Isaiah 16:6. We have heard of Moab's pomposity, his exceeding pride and conceit, his overflowing arrogance. Jeremiah 48:11. Moab has been at ease from his youth, settled like wine on its dregs. He has not been poured from vessel to vessel or gone into exile, so his flavor has remained the same. Unlike Israel, refined through exile, Moab remained unchanged, comfortable in sin, untested. But the worst offense was mockery. Jeremiah 48:26-7. Make him drunk, for he has magnified himself against the Lord. Was not Israel the object of your scorn? Moab mocked Israel during their troubles. Ezekiel 25:8-11. Because Moab and Seir said, "Look, the house of Judah is like all the other nations. I will execute judgments upon Moab." Moab treated Israel as just another nation, denying their covenant relationship with God. They had proximity to God's people, witnessed his power, and still concluded Israel was nothing special. Zephaniah 2-9 pronounced final judgment. Surely, Moab will be like Sodom, and the Ammonites like Gomorrah, a place of weeds and salt pits, a perpetual wasteland. The nation that came from Lot's escape from Sodom would end like Sodom itself. By the post-exilic period, Moabites had disappeared. Today, there is no Moab, but Ruth's legacy remains woven into redemption history, part of the Savior's bloodline. So what does this mean for us? Here's what you need to do. First, stop letting your origin define your destiny. Moab was born from incest. Ruth was Moabite. Yet, she's in Jesus' genealogy. Your family background, your past mistakes, the shame you carry, none of that disqualifies you. Write down the origin story you think disqualifies you. Then write over it, God specializes in redemption. Your beginning doesn't determine your ending. Your faith does. Second, recognize that proximity to blessing isn't the same as receiving blessing. Moab lived next to Israel for centuries. They saw miracles, witnessed God's power, even produced Ruth, and most stayed unchanged. You can go to church your whole life and never actually know God. Proximity creates opportunity, not transformation. Ask yourself, am I near God's people, or am I one of God's people? Third, guard against mockery. Moab's defining sin was mocking Israel in their distress. We do the same, laughing at others' failures, finding satisfaction in their struggles. Who are you mocking? What struggles are you dismissing? The judgment you pronounce on others becomes the judgment you invite on yourself. Fourth, don't mistake comfort for blessing. Moab was at ease from youth, settled like wine on dregs, never challenged, never refined, never tested. That ease became spiritual death. Sometimes God's greatest mercy is difficulty. Sometimes pressure is His grace. If life is too comfortable, you might be settling into complacency. Ask God, what needs to be refined in me? Fifth, make Ruth's confession your own. She said, your God will be my God. Not, I'll try your religion. Total commitment. Your people, your God, your death, your burial. Faith isn't sampling the menu, it's burning your ships. What's keeping you from total commitment to God? What are you holding back? Because here's the bottom line. Moab had every opportunity for blessing. They lived next to God's people, witnessed His power, and most chose pride over humility, mockery over mercy, comfort over change. They disappeared from history. But Ruth, one woman who said, your God will be my God, became part of the greatest story ever told. She's remembered, she's honored, she's in the Messiah's line. Same nation, different choice, different destiny. Your origins don't determine your outcome. Your pride will keep you from what proximity could give you. Your mockery reveals your heart. Your comfort might be killing you, but your faith, radical, total, bridge-burning faith, puts you in God's story. Don't be Moab. Be Ruth. Don't mock what you should join. Don't settle when you should be refined. Don't let proximity replace commitment. Because God's grace can redeem anyone, but it only transforms those who confess, your God will be my God. The question isn't where you came from. It's who you're committed to. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.